acid rain, or how is it is formed. Some types of pollution like the depletion of the ozone layer can be reversible. However, this shall only happen when humans stop or limit the use of various chemicals that contribute to its destruction. If we stop using, not just stop, if we limit the use of CFCs and other greenhouse gases, actually main CFC is involved in the ozone layer depletion, maximum percentage of CFC, not just CFC, other gases are also involved. But if we limit the use of CFCs, like CFC is used in the refrigerant, as a refrigerant, okay. So if you limit the use, some other alternative forms of chlorofluorocarbons if are used, then that will again help the ozone layer to recover. Invasive species, that is another threat. An exotic or unnatural species, that is the species which is not present, which does not belong to that place, which is an exotic one, means which is not naturally growing in that place, okay. An exotic or unnatural species, that can be any kind of organism that has been introduced to a foreign habitat. This is called as the invasive species. This introduction can cause major threats to the native species, as they often become subjected to great competition for resources, disease and predation. When these species have successfully colonized the area, they are already called invasive ones. Like water hyacinth was an invasive species in India. Next to habitat loss, invasive species are ranked as the second biggest threat to biodiversity. The greatest threat that invasive species can bring is their capability to change an entire habitat. You can see how water hyacinth destroys any water body, isn't it? This species, water hyacinth is just an example, some other invasive species are also there. These species are highly adaptable and can easily dominate a certain area. Because many natural species survive only in a particular environment, they tend to be displaced or worse, perish. Some places have very low possibilities for the invasion of species. Usually, these places include those with harsh environmental conditions like extreme temperatures and high salinity. The salt content increases high salinity. Another point is overexploitation. Overexploitation, what does overexploitation means? Overexploitation means the act of over-harvesting species, overusing, exploiting the animals overly, overusing it, and natural resources at rates faster than they can actually sustain themselves into the wild, isn't it? Means we can use it, but we have to see how much time it takes to renew. If we are using it more than the capacity of its renewability, then we are over exploiting it. Is it clear? Because of this, species population is put into great risk of reduction. Over harvesting, overfishing, overhunting are some examples of overexploitation. Additionally, some species of living organisms find it hard to reproduce when their number is too small. So, as a population or ecosystem continues to suffer from low species diversity, the probability of getting wiped out completely when a natural disaster or other forces increases. If the act of overexploitation continues, it can ultimately bring extinction to many species, even if they still exist in the wild. Okay, it can cause extinction. Other potential threats like also including poaching. Aside from the 5 aforementioned threats, the 5 threats I have mentioned before, there are still a lot of drivers that may either directly or indirectly contribute to the loss of biodiversity. One good example of these are the epidemics and infectious diseases of wildlife such as Ebola virus disease, infectious bursal disease and flu. These phenomenon does not only affect wildlife but also human health as well. Now you can see one of the pandemics going on, it is also affecting human health. Number of human beings are slowly reducing, people are getting affected, people are dying. Pathetic, isn't it? Aside from this, human induced activities which include economic, technological and scientific, cultural and demographic factors also have an impact on biodiversity. The desiccation of wetlands means the destruction of the wetlands and soils owing to the excessive pumping of water tables oftentimes contribute to the death of organisms living in these environments. The overuse of natural parks and watershed as tourist destination and recreational spots also threatens biodiversity due to the fact that humans cause too much noise and perturbations that disrupt the animals' normal activities. Another point, another threat is the poaching. Poaching means illegal killing of animals. That is also destructing biodiversity.